Hello traders, today is Saturday, November 9th, 2024. As I'm gonna go over 10 different names. Keep in mind, this is not financial advice. This content is for educational purposes only. Now let's get into it. The first name I'm gonna go over is Apple. One of the things that I've been keeping an eye on Apple was this 225 level, which was broken by the end of last week, right after earnings, actually. And actually, Apple had a little of a strength coming out of that drop. Now you are finding price action right under the 35 SMA. As a matter of fact, as soon as it got to this level of resistance, I would say, of the 35 SMA, you actually got a little bit of a sell-off. I actually like Apple coming back into 225 and then maybe rebounding and breaking that 35 SMA. That would be actually interesting to see. MACD and TSI are not looking the best, but are not looking too bad actually. The RSI is looking all right. I mean, this last candle moved these indicators a little bit lower. But other than that, you also find yourself in this area that has pretty decent volume, in my opinion. So let's wait and see what happens next week if we are actually going to move down towards 225 and then retest this support level and see if we continue going to the upside. I'm very interested in Apple. If it catches momentum next week, I might actually jump into some positions, some dated calls for Apple, probably mid 2025 or something like that. Let's take a look at another name, and that is AMD. Now, one of the things, let me take a quick note here, that caught my eye while I was looking at this chart today was how this is moving. And maybe we can argue. Let's see if I can find this without wasting too much time. It's not these arrows. I should know this by now. But anyways, maybe no, it's not here. Okay, never mind. Those are emojis. But so one of the things that I was thinking is, or looking at, is these reactions, or this reaction out of the resistance level at 187, coming down here under the 325 SMA. Then you have 2 and 3. So you're moving 1, 2, 3. Then you have another move going from here right under the 325 SMA again and rebounding on this support level at 134. 1, well, you're having 1, 2, and I wonder if this is the next move for AMD. We'll see what happens there, but you're right under this resistance level at 150, which is a very strong resistance level. But I think if we mount this level, we're probably gonna find our next level of resistance on the 35 SMA, but we're probably gonna fill this gap. We'll see what happens there. But I like the fact that we had very similar reactions when we went under the 325 SMA in this instance and this second instance, and now it looks like the thing is repeating. So you had again this move 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, and this might be possibly the third side of this move. Anyways, it is crucial that we break 150 or 151 is actually more accurate. And if we mount this level, we're probably going to fill this gap. Keep in mind that 35 SMA is right on that way as well. So it could be a little bit of resistance, but seems like AMD hasn't have much problem on breaking to the upside on that 35 SMA or to the downside to the 35 SMA. So anyways, if we break 151, your next level of resistance, in my opinion, won't be the 35 SMA, it will be 161. This is looking promising. We'll see how we behave on Monday. Let's take a look at, I haven't mentioned AST in a while, and it is definitely quite important for this stock. Let's go with earnings first. Earnings are coming on Thursday. I think they are after hours, but let's, after hours on Thursday. That is an important catalyst, considering how volatile the behavior of of the stock right after earnings was. So you had this huge spike up 50%, and then you kept moving almost like 80% this whole move. Anyways, you're right on this crucial level at 2130, and I think if we break under that, the only thing that is going to stop you, I'm going to put another level right here. The only thing that can probably I like this one actually better. Is there anything else? No. The only thing that would stop this move towards 13 or 14 would be a good catalyst, which in this case would be earnings. Again, in general, I like this company. I like what they are planning to do, but it also seems like they are a little bit far. They're not behind, but they still more time to accomplish the satellite launches and everything that they need. That being said, I'm very interested in see how the stock price is going to behave on this area. We'll see if we get another rebound. We have seen it a couple of times at least, but it seems like there is a lot of selling pressure right now. So 2130 is your support level and is critical to maintain it. Now let's take a look at, wait, are you just gonna do that? Okay. AVGO, I have it right here. One of the things that I like about AVGO on the one or on the daily chart is a couple of things. MACD and TSI are looking really good. RSI is also looking good, but I like what I'm seeing on the candles. You had this nice reaction on support right here at 166, and then you went over resistance 173, and then you mounted that 35 SMA. Now you are right under this resistance level at 185.4, which is previous highs as well, or all-time highs actually, in this area. So we'll see how we behave here. If we mount this, we are going to get into price discovery areas. But considering how liquidity works and also what we are seeing on the MACD and the TSI, I think if there is an additional influx of volume, we would probably see a nice move or a continuation for AVGO. Keep an eye on the resistance level of 185. This is not looking bad at all. So let's take a look at another name that I don't think I've ever mentioned on any of my videos, but that would be CCL. And let me take a note here quick. So Carnival Corporation, one of the things that I really like about this, let's go to the weekly chart, is this level right here. And I think if we break this, and this is the weekly chart, if we mount the 325 SMA as well, I think this is going to move very nicely. Look at this volume profile right here. You really don't have any liquidity if we pass over 27. Contracts on this thing are probably cheap. I haven't looked, but I think this is definitely going to jump into my focus list. I really love this setup on the weekly chart. And that means that if I get any positions, I would probably buy something as far as probably August or July of next year, just to be on the safe side. But anyways, I like what I'm seeing on the weekly chart. Let's go back to the daily chart. And on the daily chart, it looks a little bit extended. It looks like it's been moving very nicely. One of the things that could also happen is that we might get a little bit of a, let's go here. We have a gap here that came, and I think that was the Trump reaction. Yes. Anyways, I think that we might see a little bit of a pullback, and I don't have any decent levels here. So I'm pretty sure this level, I can trace it back, but let's add this area of support. So we'll see what is the behavior between these two price points, 2180 and 2433. And I just want to make sure that this level makes sense. Yes, because you are here and you have these candles here. So we are kind of in that range. So yeah, so if you're in that, let's say 21, between 21 and 24 is where your eyes have to, where you want to focus really. We'll see what happens on the weekly chart. On the weekly, it's looking good, but we'll see what happens next week in reality. And and see what we get. Would be optimal to get a pullback towards 21 or 22, and then a nice continuation towards resistance and breaking that resistance. On the weekly chart, this is looking great. On the daily chart, it's looking a little bit extended, and for that reason, I would love to see a little bit of a cool down, maybe filling this gap, and at that point, maybe move back up again. But this name is definitely looking interesting. Let's take a look at another name that I mentioned a few weeks back, and I will tell you when. That is CrowdStrike. And one of the things that I was saying, look, you're filling this gap already. Let's get rid of it because it's basically filled. And I was talking about CrowdStrike on this candle right here. And that was in the beginning of October. We are now almost in the middle of November. We went over the 200 SMA, got rejected a little bit. You actually went down towards the 35 SMA. And at that point, once you hit the 35 SMA, you broke over the 200 SMA, and then you continue going up. There's low liquidity in this area, which tells me that this is probably a nice setup at this point. Keep an eye on the behavior of this stock. I think it's gonna, and as I said before, it's gonna start moving slowly to the upside. Again, you have low liquidity here, and let me take a look and see if I can find, that would be interesting. It's a little bit high right now. Actually, let's see, we are actually at a resistance level right here. So we'll see what happens if we reach this. If we get rejected and go back towards the 200 SMA, that would be actually fine. And then if we retest the 200 SMA and continue going up, that would be great. But this name is looking great. If you actually got this move right here from this trend line moving forward, fantastic. This was a pretty solid move. And now we are finding ourselves at a price of 330. Our resistance level that I just put on is 138. So keep an eye on that resistance level. Now let's move on to another name that is catching my eye, and that would be Datadog. And one of the things that I like about this is I like the setup in general. Let's go to the 4-hour chart, and let's get rid of this. And it makes more sense on the 4-hour, even on the 2-hour chart. You are in this range right here. You're moving up, down, up again, down again, up again. One of the things I thought last week that with earnings and everything, we were gonna break on this resistance level and maybe continue going up. But then on this was Friday. And let me see this candle. When was this candle? Yeah, on Friday, you had this move down. Let's take a look. What was the percentage for Friday? And that was 4.11% to the downside. You are right on the 35 SMA. You're probably gonna maybe continue going down towards the 200 SMA, which is right on support of 121. But don't be surprised that if we range and maybe continue going up, that would be fantastic. If you break down, you're going straight to the 325 SMA. So these are your, for at least for the short term, your critical support and resistance level. Support 121, resistance 131. This is really, really interesting. I might actually get some calls. I just want to see the behavior. Right now, the MACD and the TSI are actually on the bearish direction. So we'll see. We'll see what next week brings us. But I'm liking Datadog still to the upside. But we'll see. We'll see how we react on the 121 support level. Now let's take a look at, where are you? Ethereum. And I haven't mentioned Ethereum in a long time, if I have ever. But I definitely have put posts of Ethereum in the past in X, but I haven't in a long time. But one of the things that is catching my eye is this move right here. You want to straight over the 325 SMA and over the 200 SMA, over this resistance level at 2.9 or almost 3,000 basically. One of the things that also caught my eye was the fact that the 200 SMA was about to cross the 325 SMA and it didn't. It's actually, if we zoom in, starting to bounce right before it actually even touched the 325 SMA. That's an interesting behavior for this. Anyways, I think if there is more momentum, which you could actually catch, you are gonna go over 3,200. We'll see what is the reaction on resistance. you might actually have a retest or a rejection, better said, at 3.2 and go down to 3,000 and then maybe continue going up. But this level is critical. You are mounting with momentum two very strong indicators, the 200 SMA and the 325 SMA. So that is important. It's looking good, in my opinion. MACD and TSI are moving very aggressively, but I think being up in this range from the 200 SMA to 3200 for now is looking pretty good. Now let's move on to Google. I mean, I guess this trade here wasn't as complicated. The only complication that I had with this move was earnings. I did have some calls right here because I noticed how tight this was getting. And I also noticed on the stocks, not the stocks, but the candles were bouncing on the 35 SMA and the 200 SMA. That for me was enough indication to actually buy calls. And I did sell my calls right before earnings. So not before, I'm sorry, right after. So on this candle right here, right, basically on the first candle, I sold my entire position. I was very happy with it. Now we went down, which I also predicted, towards 170, and now we are back up on where we were at 180. I do think that if we get a little bit of green and go over 181 or 182, we are going to move into 193 and hit new all-time highs, getting to price discovery at this area. The reason why I'm saying this is because there is lack of liquidity in this area. You just have to mount or go over this shelf right here, which is not that hard, which is at 181, 182, give or take. MACD and TSI are not looking bad at all. It might look a little bit extended or whatever, but I'm not too worried about it right now. Let's take a look at the weekly and see if we get a little bit more color into this. The weekly is looking fantastic. I didn't take a look at this. Wow, I think I'm buying Google next week. Actually, I might get 2025, March or May, just to be on the safe side, at 190 probably. Wow. On the weekly, I'm gonna be honest, I didn't look at this chart on the weekly. I'm getting rid of that gap. I don't think it's gonna feel, but this is looking fantastic. Look at the MACD and the TSI on the weekly. This is looking prime. Anyways, Google going to the focus list again. It's lovely to see that actually came down to this. Let's go to a 15-minute, to this level right here. Look at this. Just went on it and end up the day right here. Wow, this is looking great. I think I'm jumping into Google again next week. Now let's take a look at the last stock, and I'm gonna make another video tomorrow, so I'm gonna finish this list on what I'm on the setups that I like. So the last one that I'm gonna talk about today is HIMS, and this is another name that I like a lot, and I did a little drawing, and I posted that drawing on X. Let's take a look on the weekly chart so you have better perspective. Wait, is it on the weekly or is on the daily? No, it is on the weekly, and you are gonna go this way. This might make more sense. There you go. Look at this chart. It's looking great. MACD and TSI were on the weekly chart. It's also looking fantastic. I think that if this actually plays out, and it kind of looks, to be honest, like Palantir, go take a look on the weekly on Palantir, and it also looks like Shack. Shack had a different, similar formation, yet the reaction was after earnings, like the break of this, of the resistance level on Shack. But we are seeing something very similar here. My price target on my last video, or still my price target, is 25.7, but I think we're probably gonna break that and get into price discovery, all-time highs. Unless I'm wrong. No, I am not. This is looking very interesting if you see it on the weekly chart. Now let's go back to the daily chart, which that's my favorite chart, I guess. One of the things that I really like about the behavior of the last few weeks of HIMS is the fact that buyers were able to step in, several times during this whole I guess, situation or moves that we had, where it was because of news or earnings or whatnot. I do think that this is looking great. Let's go back to a 5-minute chart and take a look at what happened on the 8th, which was yesterday. You had your opening right here, right on the 30-minute. You went straight down to this support level, which, by the way, keeps working, that 21.7. Then you went up, and then you continue going up. You had a nice reaction on the 5-minute on the 325 SMA. Keep an eye on that, on this indicator. That these three indicators that I use, in my opinion, are very efficient just to understand charts. But then you went over that 35 SMA, and then you continue moving up. And then, well, you broke that 200 SMA, and then you stayed right there. But these levels on the 5-minute really give you an understanding that they are very solid support and resistance level. I think if next week we break 340, 345 or 350, we're probably going to continue going into 25.7. And at that point, you're going to get into new areas of price action, basically price discovery. Again, if we go back to the weekly chart, I do believe that we might actually find something very interesting here brewing. We'll see. I think the market is still getting news, or I guess what we're now calling the Trump effect. There's a lot of things that I think are going to push the market even higher, and is the international reaction that we're having to the election of Donald Trump. And I can number a few of them. So Europe is announcing that they want to buy oil from the US. That's great news. The market loves that. The guys, or whatever, those people in the Houthis in Yemen, I think it is, one piece. Hamas, one piece right away. Russia wants to negotiate, and China is saying, well, we want to be friends. We want to have a great relationship with the United States. Everybody is already, and internationally, are really trying to put their best foot forward to deal with Donald Trump. They know that he probably doesn't mess around as far as foreign policy and that sort of stuff. So I think that we still have, or the market still has, more excuses to continue pushing higher. I do believe that HIMS, if we go back to technical analysis, based upon what we're seeing here, we are definitely going to hit, and I shouldn't say definitely, but I do have a very good assumption to think that we're going to hit 5.7, 5.78, or whatever you want to call 5.8, and then maybe continue going up. And that is one of what I was just pointing out on one of my posts on X, that I was saying we're probably going to get into price discovery in the near future. And I think that's going to happen. Anyways, if you're a HIMS investor, I'm super happy for you, because this is still moving super solid. And I'm super happy for myself as well, because I end up buying a bunch of calls on HIMS, and they're dated, so I'm not to worry about a couple of days of red or whatever. I think as a whole, this chart is looking fantastic. On the weekly chart, is looking great. On the daily chart, is also looking great. That's all I have for you guys for today. I will see you back tomorrow. Thank you. Bye bye.